Good evening, everybody. This is JPCO Death checking in for another quick cooking video. Today we're going to be preparing a variant on a good old Italian tradition. We are going to be making a ravioli lasagna. It's a variant on a traditional lasagna that instead of using just the regular noodles, you can basically assemble it using large either cheese or, if you really felt like it, meat and or a combination thereof, raviolis. And it can even be dumbed down a little bit from this way if you're in a hurry, but we're actually going to be preparing this one the night before, and I'm going to let it sit in my fridge and then just drop it in the oven when it's dinner time tomorrow. So we're going to get this all prepared, go from there. We're going to start with some of our ingredients. We do have a big old package here. It's not quite 3 pounds, but 42 ounces of large cheese raviolis. We've got sauce, cottage cheese, which is a good way to stretch ricotta. Has a different mouthfeel, and honestly, you're not going to notice it nearly as much. This one's a small curd, but there's about a pound of cottage cheese and a pound of ricotta here. I've also got Italian sausage I'm going to be cooking up. Cheese, if I didn't already say it, mozzarella, 1 egg, as well as a little bit of seasonings, some thyme, oregano, that kind of thing, basil, usual traditional spices. Maybe some garlic is going to go in. We'll see how this goes for us. But I'm going to get started by getting the sausage warmed up and browned off, and getting these raviolis a little bit less frozen so they can be worked with. But I'm not going to cook them all the way yet. Like I said, I'm preparing this for tomorrow. So if you were going to do this for a meal coming right up, you can just go ahead and cook the raviolis to hot and kind of get this going, and it'll bring the cooking time up. But anyway, we'll get to it. Catch up with you guys in one little minute. I'm going to get these cooking, and then we'll be back to work on the cheese filling. Alright, we've got our meat browned off already, browned and drained. I didn't go for a very spicy Italian sausage this time because my son isn't a big fan of spicy foods. I'm afraid that he would get into the meal and decide that it was too zippy for him. So I just went with a mild tonight. We're going to get started on our cheese mixture, I guess. And for that, we're going to use our whole container of ricotta cheese. We are once again putting in, maybe I won't do the whole thing, we'll see how it goes. I'll start with about 2/3 of this. And then the same thing for the cottage cheese. You gotta know that the pasta already has some cheese also in it, but this is going to make it creamy in between all the different layers as well, bring it together once you get all the cheese mixed in. So we're going to mix these together and bring a little bit of flavor into this particular party. I don't think it's going to be quite enough for the whole thing. We're just going to go all in. We're going to go the full 16-ounce container of cottage cheese. And I think the ricotta is only actually 15 ounces. It's not quite a full pound, but darn near. Let's just make sure that when we get down to building this thing that we have enough toppings. We don't want to run slender at any point, so to hell with it. Just going to go all in, and then if this doesn't work out, I have more raviolis, and I can always make more. But one of the reasons that this recipe even exists, yes, I could go to the trouble of making a real lasagna, and for that I would go through a bit of a different process. But this is just kind of a faster way to go about it, an easier way when you don't have quite so many options on the table in front of you. It's going to be easier to get your hands on a bag of frozen raviolis, it seems these days, than to get most of the different kinds of pasta noodles, at least in my area. So I have here, this is from Penzi Spices, a pasta sprinkle. And we're going to put about a tablespoon and a half, or excuse me, a teaspoon and a half of this into our, maybe that's 2 teaspoons, into our ricotta mixture. And we are going to add in some garlic powder. I think this one, the pasta sprinkle had oregano, thyme, basil, and something else in it. Then we're going to crack in an egg. It's going to help everything to stick together. We're going to mix this all together. But this is just kind of a faster way to go. The reason I'm doing this in the middle, well, not quite the middle of the night, why I'm doing this late at night is honestly this is one of the quietest times in my house right now. With my kids home on all the weekends for our shelter in place. I figured this was going to be about the only way that I was going to be able to A, demonstrate that it can be prepared ahead, and B, get it done without too much trouble, too much extra noise from either my house or the neighbors. I'm also going to put into this about a half a teaspoon of salt. It's not going to need a whole heck of a lot. There's going to be a lot of different salt in the different cheeses here, so you always want to be careful about getting too much. But this is our cheese mixture for now, and once these noodles are warmed up, we'll start layering them together in a pan. See you guys soon. Okay folks, my raviolis are all done. Everything is prepared. I did end up cooking them for a little less than probably half of what they were originally called for. We're going to be cooking these again, so as far as getting them tender, they don't need to be ready for table right now, so really not that critical. I'm going to take a couple ounces of this tomato sauce and drop it down to the bottom of the pan just so that the noodles have a little bit of protection. And then we're going to start layering in our raviolis here. While I'm working on this first layer here, I'd like to remind you guys a little bit about the Gamers and Geeks cooking playlist that Vault Girl and myself have been working on for a long time now. It is largely community driven, which is amazing, so thank you so much to the community and everybody who has participated so far and is thinking about participating going forward. It's been an amazing experience so far, and we're really glad for everybody that has helped us make this reality. Hopefully you guys can think of something that you like to eat, something you like to do, something you want to share. I know that right now with the way the world is, there's a lot of weird stuff going on, but there's no reason that we can't all just still kind of hang out and share some food and some stories. So what I'm going to do is layer in the whole bottom of that. I'm going to take a dollop of our ricotta mixture, or as some of you are surely yelling at your screens, ricotta. But, I don't have an Italian grandma who's going to get mad at me or anything, so I'm not too worried about it. But we're going to bring this in here and layer it around some. Like I said, you got to remember there is cheese inside of these already. If you've chosen to use a meat and cheese mixture of raviolis, then that's going to be a different sort of thing for you as well. But just remember that like a regular lasagna, you do want to bring a bunch of flavors together and layers and layers and layers. So we're going to start with some of that right now. We're going to sprinkle some of our Italian sausage in it. Didn't really mention how much cheese I brought to the party. The truth is, I think the last couple times I've talked about cheese, the answer has always been, oh, well, I use about yay much. But the truth is, there's a lot of situations where you can't really have too much cheese. So by all means, layer this thing up, bury it in cheese, if that is what you like. If you're lactose intolerant, of course, I suppose you don't want to do that, but I guess we'll go from there. So just like that, we've got a layer of everything down, and then we'll get more sauce and keep building our layers all the way up. So I'm not going to make you guys wait for that. Instead, I will cut to the end here. See you guys in just a minute. Well, folks, there it is. We managed to get 3 layers of ravioli and everything else that goes with it, buried the top in cheese. This 13 by 9 dish that I chose as our baking vessel is barely containing this. It's all the way to the brim, so tomorrow I'm going to need to make sure to put this on a cookie sheet. But for the minute, I'm going to cover this up with plastic wrap, get it into the cooler here, and then tomorrow evening when it's time for supper, I'm going to get it into a 350 degree oven for approximately an hour, and it'll be time to eat. So I will see you guys tomorrow after this comes out of the oven. Take care. Well, folks, there you have it. We did cook this today straight from the refrigerator, pulled the plastic wrap off, and it was in the oven at 350 for 1 hour 15 minutes. As you can see, I was wise to put it on a tray. We did bubble over on most of the sides. A taller container would have been probably a better idea, but the truth is I don't have one. So let me get a little bit of this on the plate so you guys can see what it is. But otherwise, this thing is done. It's beautiful. We're going to be eating here in just a few minutes, and I'm really happy with our result. So once again, I want to remind you guys of the Gamers and Geeks playlist, cooking playlist. There are more than, I think, 180 videos now from around the globe, contributions from lots of people helping to make this thing a reality. And I'm really very proud of what this thing has accomplished. And so huge thanks to Vault Girl and all the other contributors for making this happen. Do look for that link in the playlist below. But I'm hoping that you guys will give this recipe a try. Let me know what you think about it. Yes, you could make a real lasagna with about the same amount of effort this one took. The however is, with the different layers in this one, let me grab a fork real quick. With the different layers in this one, you're going to find yourself, I don't know if we can get even an angle on that, probably not. You've got all the different layers of cheese and meat, and then additional stuffing from inside of the raviolis. So this one is just a little bit of a variant. Once again, if other things are not available, it's a nice other thing to have. Anyway, I'm blathering. I will let you guys go. Thank you all so much for joining me on this little journey, and we will see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.